Chapter 174 Shizun's Brocade Pouch. Flying Flower Isle might have been poor, but its wealthiest merchant had clearly enjoyed some success and lived in ostentatious luxury. The woman was attired in a loose satin robe, sprangled all over a golden bat motif, which she wore under a coat made of top-grade snow silk from Kunlun Tashur Palace. Her long, grey-streaked hair was pulled sleekly back and adorned with exquisite hairpins, inlaid with kingfisher feathers and flowers made of strung-together pearls. Her eyebrows were drawn in using opulent pigment from conch shells. Her skin was powdered and oiled, and her lips were daubed with crimson. A delicate strand of pearls encircled her neck, and a pair of gleaming gold earrings, set with rubies the size of pigeons' eggs, swung ponderously from her earlobes. She was over 50 at a glance, her youth long faded, an impression reinforced by her rather stout figure and deeply lined face. With some tasteful styling, she would have looked well enough, but she clearly thought her beauty proportional to the number of luxurious items she wore. Consequently, beneath this pile of jewels, she resembled nothing so much as a miserly old turtle, garnished with red chilies and green onions. This cunning merchant owned a full half of the land on the small Flying Flower Isle. Even the village elder didn't dare say a word against her. As the sun climbed in the sky, she strolled into the public square. A redwood taishi chair, carved with bats and deer, had already been set out for her. She took a seat and studied the refugees from Ningyi.
"What were you thinking?"
She raised heavy-lidded eyes to shoot a calculating glance at the village elder.
"They haven't paid a single copper, yet you've given them rooms? And that's a matter of food. How much have they eaten?"
"Not much. It was only leftovers from the villagers. Things they couldn't finish." The village elder mumbled. The merchant snorted prissily.
"You still ought to charge for it. Was this rice or wheat not grown on my land? Seeing as the harvest was poor this year, I provided every family with 10 catties of barley flour and a jar of oil from my own storehouse. Now, I don't mind feeding you. We're all islanders here. But surely you'd think twice before giving away Third Lady Sun's grain to these refugees from Ningyi."
"Third Lady is correct, of course." The village elder smiled. "But look, don't you feel pity for these little girls and old men out here in the cold? You're a kind soul, so why not let it go?" The merchant opened her beady eyes wide.
"Let it go? How could I? Money makes the world goes round, you know."
The village elder was rendered speechless.
"How much did each family give them to eat?"
The merchant asked.
"I've asked you to tally the amount. Are you done yet?"
The village elder replied helplessly. "Yes, we've counted everything." He held out a small booklet for the merchant, Third Lady Sun. With a raucous jangle, Third Lady Sun raised her hand. She sported 9 colorful bracelets on her right wrist alone. Gold, silver and jade bangles inlaid with assorted gemstones covered nearly half her forearm. She leafed lazily through the booklet, then closed it. After making a few quick calculations on her fingers, she pronounced,
"Such gluttons! All of you must have been born in the year of the pig. You've wolfed down 26 of the island's mantu. Our mantu are quite large, so 90 silver's more than reasonable. You drank half a vat of fresh water, which I brought over from Ningyi myself. I bought each vat for 3 gold, so with the transportation costs included, I'll sell them to you for 4 gold each. That's 2 gold for half. So that'll be 2 gold, 90 silver in total. One more thing, Changjijie."
The kindly-looking woman whom she had addressed jumped and looked up.
"Oh, Third Lady."
Third Lady's son smiled.
"The mantu you make are so delicious because you add lard to the dough. That must be accounted for."
I only used a tiny dab of lard for 10 mantu. How would I account for such a small amount?"
"What's so hard about that? 10 mantu, a dab of lard. I'll charge 1 copper coin for the lot. That's very fair.
The other woman stared silently.
So that's 2 gold, 90 silver, and 1 copper altogether,
said Third Lady's son.
Plus, you're all sleeping in rooms on my land. The rooms might not be mine, but the land most assuredly is. You slept for an hour, so that'll be 70 coppers per person.
She turned to the attendant next to her.
How many refugees are there here?
Third Lady, there are 49 in total.
That's not right. Weren't there 51 before? Where are the other 2?
Before her words had faded, she heard a low voice answer. Right here. Although Chu Wanning wore robes of silvery blue instead of his customary white, he looked as frostily imposing as ever. His elegant phoenix eyes were bright and clear, his pupils haughty and cold as an unsheathed dagger. Third Lady's son was a commoner, but cultivators didn't frighten her. She had been a businesswoman for most of her life, fussing over and haggling for every coin. But all her operations were above board, and she had always steered clear of evildoers. She said evenly,
I see you're a cultivator, so it's no wonder you don't need to sleep. You're the one who rescued these people and brought them here, right? You've come just in time. Hurry up and hand over the money.
Third Lady, these 2 aren't from roofing sect, the village elder said in a low voice. They're cultivators from Xisheng Peak. You needn't be so.
I don't care what sect they're from. I answer to coin, not people.
Chu Wanning glanced at the shivering refugees huddled together in the cold. With a wave of his hand, he brought down a red-gold barrier to keep out the chill. Then he turned. How much are you asking?
2 gold, 93 silver, and 430 copper.
Loathsome Third Lady's son might be, but they had nowhere else to go. Chu Wanning understood that if he crossed her, the consequences would not fall on him, but on those he'd brought here. Face sullen, he fished his money bag from his jiankon pouch and tossed it at her. There's about 80 gold in there. Most of his money was still with Chue Chengyong. He didn't have much on him at all. We'll stay for 7 days or so. See if that's enough.
It's not.
Third Lady's son would never lift a finger herself. She summarily passed the bag to her assistant to count the money.
80 gold will cover for your stay for 3 days at most. I haven't even accounted for the cost of food.
You!
If Qianzhen isn't convinced, allow me to show you an itemized bill. A businesswoman knows money. We can go through it line by line if you like.
But then Moran had hurried over. He didn't have much money on him either. With both their finances pooled, they barely had enough to cover 4 days of food and lodging for 51 people. Third Lady's son took the coins and drew her vivid red lines up into a smile.
You can stay for 4 days. After that, I don't care whether the inferno's gone out. If you don't have the money, you need to go.
In the interest of reducing their expenses, Chu Wanning skipped dinner that night. He cast a messenger haitang over the sea in an attempt to contact Chue Chengyong, then returned to the little cottage he'd been assigned. The dwelling was even cruder than the one he'd stayed in during the harvest in Yuliang village. Because there wasn't much vacant housing on the island, the refugees were all crammed together. Chu Wanning wasn't accustomed to sharing a room with strangers, so he'd doubled up with Moran. The humble cottage's candle had been lit, but Moran wasn't inside. Where he had gone off to, Chu Wanning didn't know. Chu Wanning shrugged off his outer robe. It was a luxurious garment, to be sure, but the material really wasn't any finer than the everyday white he favored, and it was by now stained with blood and ash from the apocalyptic fire. He had filled a wooden bucket with hot water and was about to start washing when the door creaked. Chu Wanning looked up at Moran. Where'd you go? It's late. Moran stepped into the room with a woven bamboo food box tucked into his robe to protect against the chill wind. He met Chu Wanning's gaze, the tip of his nose red from the cold, and grinned. I went to Third Lady's manor to beg for food. Chu Wanning stared at him. You went to beg for food? Just kidding,
Moran said.
But I did bring some dinner. What is it?
Mantu.
Moran looked apologetic. And a bowl of fish soup and red braised pork. No dessert, unfortunately. That third lady's son was staring me down, and all the villagers are scared of her, so no one dared give me more. I went to her manor and traded my silver dagger for this.
Chu Wanning frowned.
That woman is heartless. I remember that dagger. There's a spiritual stone set in the hilt. How did you get so little for it? It wasn't just this. I haggled for 51 meals, one for everyone. I watched the kitchen send them out.
Moran said with a smile.
So don't worry about the others, Shizun. Just eat up.
Chu Wanning really was quite hungry. He sat at the table and applied himself to the hot fish soup before nibbling on the mantu and braised pork. Third lady's son was a stingy woman, so the meat was both meager and greasy, not at all to Chu Wanning's taste. But the steamed bun dipped in soup wasn't bad at all. After he finished one, he started on his second. Moran glanced at the steaming bucket of water.
Shizun, you're doing laundry?
He asked.
Mm-hmm. If it's just your outer robe, I can wash it for you. There's no need. I can do it myself. It's fine. I wanted to do my laundry anyway, so this is perfect,
said Moran. He stepped over to the bed to grab the clothes he'd changed out of earlier and hauled the wooden bucket outside. As he looked up at the bright moon in the courtyard, Moran wondered how Shu Meng, his uncle, and the rest were doing, and where Ye Wangxi and Nangongxi were now. He gazed out to sea, toward the great inferno still surging like a bloody tide, smoke scorching the heavens. He wondered about Song Chitong, and also about that other person, the one for whom he harbored such bone-deep hatred that he'd slaughtered every soul in a Rufeng sect in the past life. Both probably lost their lives to the sea of flames. Moran heaved a sigh and set the thought aside. He put down the wooden bucket, added some cold water from the cistern, and rolled up his sleeves to wash the clothes. When it came to assembling automatons or writing scrolls, Chu Wanning was thorough and methodical to a fault. But it all went to shambles as soon as he attempted such domestic tasks as laundry or cooking. For instance, Moran always checked his own pockets and chiankon pouch before soaking his clothes to ensure nothing important got wet. But Chu Wanning often forgot this mundane step. Moran mutely fished item after random item out of Chu Wanning's robes. What was all this? A high-tongue handkerchief? Okay, fairly normal. An assortment of medicines? Also reasonable. A handful of candy? Moran was at a loss. Upon closer inspection, he realized they were milk candies he'd given Chu Wanning back in Yuliang village. How hadn't he finished them yet? He continued rummaging. A second later, Moran flinched. An exploding talisman? His face went ashen with terror as he lifted the damp paper talisman out of the water. How careless could Chu Wanning be? He just stuck this exploding talisman in his pocket without any safeguard? Even if the chances of it catching fire and self-detonating were slim, it was still appallingly risky. Was this his idea of a joke? Moran frowned and hurriedly sifted through Chu Wanning's clothes again. After extracting all the exploding talismans, freezing talismans, and soul-soothing talismans, he'd discovered that Chu Wanning had even left behind the rising dragon talisman with the tiny dragon drawing. If he hadn't checked, these paper talismans would have had a nice long soak, and most of them would have been ruined. Seriously, what was he to do with this man? Moran shook his head in exasperation and resolved never again to allow his Shizun to do his own laundry. Just then, a small object, the soft white of lotus root, slipped from an inner pocket. Distracted, Moran assumed it was yet another spiritual talisman. He picked it up and glanced at it briefly. That glance was enough to stop him in his tracks. What he held
was an old brocade pouch embroidered with flowers of the silk tree, their once brilliant petals dimmed with age. Ran felt at one incredulous and bemused. This object seemed vaguely familiar. He must have seen it somewhere before, long enough ago, that he couldn't immediately recall where and when. As Moran rubbed the little brocade pouch, dark eyebrows knitting together, light and shadow chased each other through his eyes. Memories flitted past as he sought those blooming flowers amidst the rushing tides of time. The fine fabric, slightly cool against his fingers, had faded over the course of the years. He peered at it closely as he turned it over in his hand, but the memory eluded him. Fearing something dangerous lurked inside, another exploding talisman perhaps, he opened the pouch to take a look. He was struck dumb by what he saw. It was a lock of hair. No, upon closer examination, it was 2 locks of hair, tied and coiled together, inextricably linked. Despite the passage of time, they had managed to remain intertwined, keeping each other company. What looked like a singular piece was actually 2 black locks, long loath to part. Hair? Moran's heart fluttered as realization dawned. A brocade pouch. He muttered. A brocade pouch with silk tree flowers. Suddenly, he remembered. The memory burst to life like fire in his heart, setting his whole chest aflame. His eyes flew wide in astonishment. The ghost mistress. He remembered. The golden boys and jade maidens from Butterfly Town, sharing a cup of wine, the mass ceremony, cutting their hair in oath, entwining their hair in union. He remembered. Henceforth, 2 souls shall be united, through heaven or hell, never to part. He remembered. He remembered. Before Butterfly Town's ghost mistress, he and Chu Wanning were married in the ghost ceremony. The golden boys and jade maidens had cut from each a lock of hair and placed them together in a silk tree flower brocade pouch, which Chu Wanning had accepted. This right here was that very brocade pouch. But how? Moran's ears rang, his heart pounded. He was mystified. How could this be? He clutched the brocade pouch, his hand trembling minutely. An unsettled light leapt within his eyes, flashing between amazement, shock, disbelief, confusion, ecstasy, even sorrow. Shizun, Chu Wanning. Why would he have kept this?